Welcome to the Fempire podcast for women building empires where your health, relationships, and wealth rise together. Here we focus on what moves the needle the most. I am your host, Jessica Joy. Let's sharpen the axe and dive in. Welcome to the podcast. Raisah Bikram is here with me today, and this woman is a master at using somatics and body work to amplify what you're doing in business. She lives it, she embodies it, and then we get to hear from her some amazing things. So Raisah, thank you for being here. First, let's start off with some of your journey. Like, how did you get into this? I know you're already ambitious powerhouse, but how did you integrate all the body work into business and start coaching people on it?
Aw, well, thank you so much for that warm intro and just having me here. I'm so grateful. Yeah, honestly, I've always been drawn to movement. I've always been drawn to nature. I've discovered through my own path that my biggest clarity always came when I got out of my own way and put myself into spaces that invited me to just silence the outside noise. And I've also deepened clarity when I worked with coaches and teachers who mirrored back my own mastery and just helped me to recognize my strengths in a way that maybe I couldn't see for myself. So through consistently just showing up for myself in times that I did not want to show up, that's really when I cracked something. Specifically, I would say like back in 2017, 2018, I was graduating college and I found myself in a job that was not fulfilling to me at all. And I remember just asking myself, like in my first corporate job, I was like, is this what my entire life is going to be like? And no shade to anyone, like that's literally just how I felt in that moment. I was making pretty decent money for my age, in New York City. On paper, everything is like great, literally great, but I'm feeling so internally withdrawn and disconnected. And what I found during those times is that I would go to Central Park every single day, and there was this one rock that I would sit on, and I would speak out loud to the universe, and I would meditate and just lay there. And when I'm done, I had zero yoga teacher training and zero everything, but your body knows. This is like a big part of somatics, is that your body is intuitive. Your body is literally a equipped vehicle with answers, and it wants to help you. And I'm there, and I'm just like throwing my hands up in the air, and I'm bringing it down and doing all these things like Anjali Mudra, not knowing back then like the power of it. And through consistency of that, I found myself unable to shut up about what I love. And it dawned on me, I asked myself that year, if I could do anything for free, what would it be? If money was not the currency of this world, what would it be? And I said, well, it would be mindfulness and coming back home to yourself. And then I realized I was one step deeper. I said, what do I talk about the most to my friends? I had a friend group at the time. I also thought about like if I go to a cafe and I randomly meet the barista, like what do I say to them? And I realized that the conversations that I was having was all around trusting yourself and taking leaps and going inwards and the importance of that. And that being like the key to everything else happening. The inner affects the outer, the universal law of cause and effect. And that's when I was like, wow, this is my passion. This is what I love to do. And I think the more that I saw results in my own life, I made a commitment to myself that if I could do this for me, I can do this for others. And then more people can then do it for themselves. They don't need me. I am not the guru, the guide, whatever. I am an awakener. And I want to help more women feel liberated and unshackle themselves and to trust themselves, where you can fully function on your own and then lean on support when you feel like you need it.
Okay, this is wild because how I know you, I haven't gotten the backstory yet. So Raisah and I were at a it was a conference for speakers. She was in a competition for speakers and brought the house down and won the whole competition. It's just like such an activation. And it makes sense because you're just embodying what you're coaching. But what a brave move to go from, okay, I'm in this. Like, most people take a lot longer. That's pretty quick. Like, you were in, sounds like corporate, and then just tuning into you and honoring that guidance, and then moving into, what do I talk about all the time? What's this? And then making a business out of it. So some of the things that you do, since our audience doesn't know you yet, is hosting retreats, combining business coaching with somatics, you called it somatic yoga, which I actually hadn't heard of that. But like this is like I said, what a journey. But I'm so curious, and here's the top question I want to start with. When it comes to the body and business, like how are these related? Because so
Oh,
many people talk about strategy, but I'd love to hear how they're connected and how you help people.
you are the strategy. That's the thing.
Oh,
Your mind, your body, your soul. Like, without you, this business would not have been born. And I fully and firmly believe that you are an extension, like everything that you do is an extension of you. So your relationships, the boundaries, how people treat you, what you teach others, your clients are calling in, all of that. And oftentimes when we are meeting resistance in the outer, it's a reflection of the resistance we're holding in the inner, right? And we see that from if someone is, well, I'll give you a perfect example of what I discovered with myself, because I believe that as a female leader, especially if you're doing work that's rooted in energetics and identity and anything spiritual, I deeply believe it's important to embody that. And so a lot of what I teach, I've walked the path. And I'm continuously doing it, being a student of life. And it's never not going through the cycle, right? So perfect example is that for years I had migraines, bad migraines, and I still get them off and on, but they're much more controlled now, and they last lot less, and they're not as painful. But I had debilitating migraines for close to 10 years. Couldn't do anything at all. Needed to lay in a room, black out the room, put the blackout blinds down. I was throwing up, you name it, I went through it. Went to the doctors, they said, you have nothing wrong with you. And I was like, tell me something is wrong. I need answers. Nothing. Literally nothing. They're like, oh, girlfriend, you just have thick cartilage. That's the only thing your MRI shows. I'm like, okay, good to know, but okay.
was a thing, thick cartilage. Okay, thanks.
Right? Who knew? Who knew? So then I started to really notice within myself the triggers beyond the physical. So I had the physical triggers, the aura, blah, 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 that you would see leading up to migraine. But more than anything, what came before that was whenever I ignored boundaries, right? It was a mental thing for me. So for example, I would have friends over at night, and it would be a Friday night, and we're having a good time. And my people pleasing, and I struggled with this for a very long time, was I never wanted to disappoint. I never wanted to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Any inkling that I was doing that to someone like would wreck and hurt my soul, like truly. So it would be 3 a.m. I have friends over, and I'm unable to tell them that I want to sleep and that it's time to go home. So I just stay there while they're doom scrolling and chit chatting, and now it's 4 a.m. and then everyone passes out, and then the next day they wake up at my house, and I love them to death, but now I don't really have the space that I want to be in, and all the things are, it's like it's compounding, right? And after they go home, I have this insane migraine for like 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. And I would see this in other parts of my life where I was self-abandoning me for the approval of others. And the people in my life, they're like, well, just tell me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. There's something in me innately that felt unsafe to do that. And until I started to learn my patterns, recognize where these things were coming from, I realized that I was able to prevent migraines, really heal myself, because it was more of an energetic thing than it was a physical. The physical was just how it was manifesting into my world, into but it was way more energetic. And I, from that knowing and that recognizing that, I've seen shifts in my own business where with clients, I would be afraid to uphold my boundaries, my policies. I would be afraid to say certain things because I don't want to hurt someone. I don't want to disappoint. And I realized I was again self-abandoning. And this pattern of self-abandoning is something within myself, my body, that I was carrying. My body remembered a time that it felt safe to do that. And because of that one particular thing, it showed up in my business, which ended up hurting my business in many ways until I found the root of this issue, and I gave it time to heal. I gave myself time to move through it, and that's the somatic work. Moving. So when I feel something now, I don't just sit there and sit in it. I mean, there are times that I do just for the sake of feeling what I want to feel to move it, but I don't I try to not let something take up too much free real estate in me, and
Mhm.
I go to my somatic work, which is moving my body, which is
Mhm.
taking a walk, which is the intuitive movements or, getting really into the somatics if I need to. But all in all, your body, as the book says, your body keeps score. Like, your body remembers.
Mhm.
So what you're just, like, locking and, like, pushing under the rug, not paying attention to, it will show up. And you might think it's not showing up in your business, but it actually is.
Absolutely. I think more the inner work we do, everything becomes easier. It shows up with our health coaching, absolutely.
Mhm,
We've been hammered, okay, be more disciplined or,
mhm,
get yourself to do it. Okay, well, if you have a wound, you could say, around setting boundaries or speaking up for your
mhm.
needs, and then, you hear these little things, but this thing came up with the kids or this thing came up with
Yep.
the family or the work. And it's like, okay, that's actually more of a boundary issue than a
Yes.
circumstance issue. And so, yeah, 100%. And um, before we got on this call, you talked about our interview, you talked about a session that you had with a client, and I thought it was so good. It was first part strategy. We can't
Mhm.
deny that we need smart strategies, whether it's business, whether it's health,
Correct.
etc. And then half the call was somatics. So I went into the energetics. And so I want to
So
give this
badass.
example because most people know, okay, it's energy, but what does that look like? So share what you did a little bit. Give an example of like,
I just want to take a moment and thank you for bringing this conversation, this topic, like, to this room because this is really, such a big part of my work, and I think up until chatting with you 5 minutes before this, I don't think I actually recognized, like, how badass that was. So, thanks for
because
helping me to see that in real
it
time.
absolutely. I mean, even in my own journey, trying to express what the inner work is to
Yeah.
people it's less tangible. So I think if we
Mhm.
show them more examples of what this could look like, then it's going to create the ahas of, shoot, like that's actually been what's stopping me. I thought I was just, I'd get in my own way. Well, what does that mean? How do we get out of our own ways?
Literally, what does that mean, right? And that's I think sometimes just, like, taking a step back, we're sometimes so close to our work that we don't actually see, like, how amazing things can be, or it's just talking to someone and just sharing idea and being seen in that, like, in this moment. I so deeply appreciate it, Jessica, so thank you.
Yes, happy to. It was easy. I didn't even mean to. It was just
I
authentic.
appreciate you. But with this, yeah, so I was in private mentorship with my client a few weeks ago, and she launched her business and she's doing so well. But what the first half of the call, we were strategy heavy. So we were creating content ideas, we were doing copy, we were planning out different tent poles that she wanted to advertise around, that she wanted to beef up her own content around, etc. So big seasonal moments that were coming up that were meaningful to her business, etc. And she also worked on a post that reintroduced herself to her community, now having gone on a journey, a deep journey inwards where her posture has shifted, her confidence has changed, her leadership has significantly just enhanced in the way that she shows up and people can feel, and her energy just is magnetic. So we did all of that, all of the strategy, Google Docs and all, like, we're in it.
Yeah.
And then we spent some time in Canva, and this is the part. When we were in Canva, I noticed that after we finished some of her content, I could see that her wound of visibility was coming up. So she did all the things, like A plus, killing it. But then to actually post it, because I knew that after our call, the deal was for her to post it, that there was going to be some sort of, like, mental chatter that why she shouldn't post it, or more perfectionism coming up, or um the fear of being seen, or all of these different wounds that I know from working with her might be triggered in this moment and she might be tested. So instead of just leaving it at strategy, this is really where my expertise comes in. And what I love to do is blending this. So we did all of the marketing, but then we actually did the embodiment work and the clearing to
Oh.
successfully post it and be anchored in that energy as the leader you want to be. So we detach from the outcome through the energetics, meaning if you get one like, if you get 10 people, 10 leads, none of that actually determines your worth. That you are doing the best that you can in this moment and you're allowing yourself to be open to receive what God has in store for you. And I noticed, like, by the end, when she was ready to post after our call, there was such a shift because she actually cleared out tiredness, heaviness. She actually untangled any of the chatter that was saying, "Ooh, should I need to perfect this more?" or "Am I sure this is ready to be seen?" All these things that might be playing in her mind, all of that was able to find a place to rest. And her truth was able to really come forward in that and anchoring in her identity of not who she was before, but
Yeah.
who she is now. Like that was the shift that I saw in that call. And I was like, this is amazing. By the end, I'm like, holy shit, what a badass call. We get to do it all. We get to do it both. And I say this a lot in my containers is that you can have it all. And that especially when I work with women, it's not just let's talk strategy. It's okay, I'm noticing something in your body right now. How can I drop you into an activation to help you shift out of that? Because it's not just a strategy. You can have picture perfect strategy, but if you don't actually trust that, if you don't trust yourself to execute that, it's not going to work. It's just another passive thing that you bought at that point.
Yes, or all the mental chatter, like,
Yes.
drains your energy toward what it could be, whether it's like, "Okay, nobody's resonating, nobody's gonna
Yep.
like it, I just feel like it's feed to the void, nobody cares," like, all this chatter. I feel like launching anything in the world is, like, one of the most great ways to personally develop yourself.
Yes! Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
"Here we go. Okay, here's the chatter. That's BS. Let's focus on the mission. Let's focus on
Yes.
who I'm here to serve. This isn't about me. This is about the few people that are meant to hear this." You have to clear your mind and your energy or like it's gonna flop, and the energy has
Mhm.
to go to the vision
The
and
great,
that
yeah.
is yeah, absolutely. So I love that you paired the two. And it's like she could work through all those fears before the launch. That makes so much sense, and even
Mhm.
rehearse it in her body and choose a different way to experience it and think about it. I think that is a prerequisite for any launch moving forward. Can we agree?
Say yes.
Yeah, it could totally even work for body transformation. It's like, you know what's gonna happen? There's gonna be those moments where you have to say, "Hey, I need to get my workout now." And I
Mhm.
want you to hold your ground and feel good about requesting, "Hey, I can't right now."
Exactly.
Anyway, somatics, let's go.
I love that, but you are spot on, and that's the thing. It's that we're fixated on what we think that we need, and that's great to have that vision, and that's great to have that uh direction of the next external step. But more times than likely, it's not just the external, it's the internal. And
Yeah.
that's the part of somatic work and energetic work. And that's why for me, on a personal level and professional level, I've seen a profound shift in how I show up, in who I call in my relationships, my very personal relationships. It shifts when you are connected to yourself and being in spaces that help you to feel safe with your body. Like that is so it's like a topic that's underrated because I feel like we do things and we can get a high off of it, but at some point if you're ignoring the part of you that actually like needs a space to have an outlet, it will fester up and compound and show up at some point. And that's what I see is like if you launch a business sometimes you're like, okay, you're off to the races, like clients are coming in and like I can do this. I've now set a new baseline. Amazing. But what happens when it starts to dip? What happens when your business is not the new shiny toy anymore, right? Like how do you then show up in those moments? If you are doing the strategy or you are revising strategy, but it's not working, how do you hold yourself through that? How do you not actually let that affect how you look at yourself and detach the outcome to your worth? Because oftentimes our brain will try to do that to us. And our body, which is coded with our nervous system, so rooted in somatics, it wants to protect us. And that's why actually understanding your body, understanding where you're storing this information, understanding where it's creating tension is important because you don't have to just sit with this and exist like that. You can
Mhm.
change that. That's the thing is like
Mhm.
you have this beautiful body that you can reclaim at any given point.
Are you talking about repatterning? So it's the same experience, but you feel differently in it?
I think, yeah, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I think it's like, for me, it's repatterning, but it's like the heart and body, like, reclamation, like that freedom to be free in yourself,
Yes.
to have this detachment, like you pour your all into it. It's not breadcrumbing any situation by any means, but it's like you're not letting anything of the external determine your work.
Mm,
Because oftentimes we do, and then that information's stored in our body. Like, you reach out to say
oh
10
yeah.
clients for a retreat. I'm saying retreats because obviously I love retreats.
Yep.
And no one signs up. And then you're like, oof, my heart feels that. I feel rejected. Then something in you is then remember, a part of you subconsciously might hold on to a rejection you felt as a little girl, or a time that a boyfriend rejected you. And you're just holding all of this in, but you've never actually had a space to like release it.
Yeah.
And it's all just stored in your body, for example. So that's how I see uh, information and experiences being stored. And for me, I think somatic work helps you to just defrost
Yeah.
all of that numbness and all of that heaviness that you've been taking, then
Yes.
recharge you at the same time.
Absolutely. I hear a lot of connecting to staying connected to you, and it's not creating meaning from the external. I feel like the retreats you hold are where people could clear so much of this. So I would love to talk more about retreats. My experience of retreats is where you can leave a different person. You can really just clear out some things when just immersed. You can drop in, somebody holds a container where you're like, holy, you find something about yourself that either you have a blind spot or you are holding on to something and you can literally let it go, have it low key, having like affecting how you're operating in your
Mhm.
life. So tell us about your retreats and anything you want to share about them, about how it could help the people listening.
I just want to let you know that I second everything you said about retreats, because it's really that. For me, my business originally started in my backyard. So I started my business in my backyard during COVID.
Nice.
I was having a really bad day in my corporate job. I did my own practices on myself. And I spent an hour and a half doing yoga, moving, coaching myself, just being with myself. And I realized that in the way that I approached this session with me, um, I had an immediate shift. And I came out of that and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, Raisa, you came into this hour and a half ago feeling so down, so depressed, so like low key, just like hopeless, feeling heavy by the world, feeling heavy with overcompensating with work because this is the first time we're working from home. And yeah, so I was having that. And I said to myself, if you can overcome this yourself and this method you just did worked, then you have the ability to help others, because sometimes the hardest thing to do is to get over something yourself. I took a picture of myself that day and I was like, okay, we are going to create a space for people to come home to themselves. And the world was closed at that time, so I used my backyard. And when I wasn't yoga certified yet, I was in like zero certification. My only certification was my marketing degree, and having done multiple classes through ClassPass throughout New York City and Long Island. That was my only certification at the time, let me just tell you. So, but sometimes your lived experience is as
Yes,
equal to taking the leap, right? And
I agree.
that's what it was. It was a lived experience. And I launched this class, and in that moment when I was prepping, I had this vision that I didn't want this to just be a pop-up class. I wanted women to attend and feel like every single thing is taken care of for them. They just show up. And my tagline was, come as you are, be ready to release and receive. That was it. I wanted to create a space where the mats were provided, the journals were provided, the food was provided,
Wow.
everything you can imagine, everything. And I didn't realize in that moment I was birthing retreats.
Yeah.
That's what happened in my
From the
backyard.
get-go, from the backyard. Nailed it from the beginning. Okay.
That's what happened. And I led this class. I'm calling it a class, but it was a mini retreat that day. And $15, by the way. And back then, people pleasing Raisa was afraid to charge $15. Let me tell you. I was putting it on Eventbrite, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be $0. $0, because it's like a thing that you could literally put it for free. And then I said, well, I just spent like $2,000 on 20 yoga mats and good gift bags and signage, and I'm gonna charge zero. I'm like, let me just see if people would actually buy this for $15. So I put it for $15, and 18 people came that day. But like, it was my first profit. Well, not profit, but first time I made money ever,
Yes.
like outside of a job. And retreats for me have evolved from that, but the core has been the same. It's been a place of transformation, a place that women can remove the mask, a place where you can fully just come as you are and be ready to release and receive. And like you mentioned when you were sharing your experiences with retreats, I never take for granted that when someone chooses to work with me or come to a journey with me, that they're taking time off, they're leaving their families, they are investing, they're trusting the space with me that I've curated. And that is a massive weight of responsibility and honor that I take. And with that, my goal is when working with women is for them to really come home to themselves, to have spaciousness on retreats, to also be able to experience things that they would not typically experience in their everyday life. So whether that's having the chance to do an excursion or a beautiful meditation activation in an ancient temple, like that to me is beautiful. Like, can you typically visit that temple without me? Probably. But the cherry on top is knowing that the work that I do, which is the inner work through meditation, through movement, through all the things, we get to do that in that temple.
Yeah.
That's what I want to give people, these extraordinary experiences that you will hold on to for the rest of your life. And each day is created with intention. So one day we could be doing releasing work. The other day we could be doing work for activation. The other day could be money mindset. Like every day is so intentionally curated. Every single thing is taken care of. They're a luxury, all-inclusive retreats. And that's been my goal for whoever attends. Maybe at some point they're going to be both men and women. For now, they've just been all women. And I'm loving that. Is for women to just come in and to leave feeling like they have gained clarity, they've had some sort of breakthrough, whether it's on the retreat or after. Because I love to hold them after the retreat too, whether it's in a container or in some integration work that's
Mhm.
included in your retreat. That's important, but it's so much more than just a vacation or a trip. It really is an experience for you and for whatever it is you're calling in. Like you get to anchor into that intention for this journey.
Yeah. Ooh, I love how you take pride in the setting because I think when you have like you could say an awakening or some type of shift within you, having, I love to go back to memories and
Yeah.
plug right back in and imagine like visualizing that space. And it's like, oh, I remember. I could go back to the retreats. I feel like there was a one I did that literally I still feel the benefits of. I still can take what I learned from it, integrate it more and more into my life. It literally, like,
But
was a
yes,
turning point. Yeah, it's keeps
yes.
on giving, you know?
100%. That's the thing. It's like there can be like seeds that you planted on a retreat that then comes into fruition later
Oh,
on.
man.
And what I love about being in a space like that is like you're so immersed, and sometimes we're trying to make shifts in our life in the place that has caused damage, in the relationships that are not serving us, in the environment that's not conducive to our mental health, or we're trying to unlearn patterns from. So then you remove yourself from that and you come to a space that is literally, I mean, from the country or the culture that we're immersed in to the hospitality, to the workshops, to the container. Like I take so much honor in creating a home space for women to just fully feel free. And I think the consistency of the work, so it's like every day we're not just lounging. Like there's times to lounge, there's time to be in the pool, but there is structure too. And it's important that I provide structure, but I believe that you are the CEO of your life. So you can make the sovereign choice, the things that you want to attend. So there's movement every morning. There's somatic yoga every morning. There is pranayama and sadhana practice. So there's breath work every morning. We have a beautiful breakfast every morning. There's going to be a workshop in the night. There's things in a day we're doing together. And everything is, like as I mentioned, strategically created with intention for that day, all leading up to it's very climatic where like the day before we have like a big breakthrough session. So it'll be like with maybe like an indigenous person from the land who's guiding us in a ceremony. Like it's all leading up to a point where we're doing deep inner work. So we're prepping our body, we're prepping our mind, we're creating space energetically to go to take this deeper journey on that day before our last day. Typically, that's how I like to structure it, but it can change. But with that in mind, it's just so important to like create a space where people really feel like they can trust it and they can remove the mask and they can give back to themselves because the women that I work with, they're go-getters, they're visionaries, they're doing a lot. And sometimes they're constantly showing the highlight reel online. And it's really important to nourish yourself too on the back end. And it's the inner that affects the outer. I'm a big believer in the universal law of cause and effect. And you're an extension of everything that you touch, everything that you do, all of your relationships. So when you take time away from all of that and you re-examine, you reassess, and you consciously make choices for yourself because you have the mental capacity and space too, you change the trajectory of your life. You can change generations to come because of that time that you've made for yourself.
Something that you said before we jumped on that I thought was so powerful is really your goal is to help women tap into their own guidance, clarity, etc. That's mine as well. It's like, I don't have the ultimate answers. Like, it's within you, but we need to
Yes.
create these spaces where, yes, we can relax and we can go inward and say, what do I need to clear up? Or what is actually mine versus all these voices outside of me that we can kind of pick up. And it's like, yeah, I like think like that.
Yeah.
What's within me? Like, what needs to come through me? And what do I need the things? So,
Exactly. You
yeah.
hit the nail on the head. I see it time and time again, and we're sometimes carrying all of this, and that's why at times like we think it's just strategy, and I know we've heard it, but it's not all strategy. It's like if you're not actually doing the inner work, the strategy can only get you that far.
Yeah, I've been coaching. It's hundreds of women. My heart, like, we have the inner work and the strategic work. And I say
Mhm.
this with so much love if this helps give somebody an aha. And it's the ones who they're like, I didn't do the inner stuff. I got really busy. The ones who avoid that are the ones who continually perpetuate the on-off patterns. They
Yeah.
never get the ultimate result because that's your leadership. Like the inner work is how you're going to show up. We think it's like, okay, fix the action layer. It's what's leading up to the action layer. We
Mhm.
need to work on this. That's the inner work. And
Mhm.
even the energy, like, man, if I'm not doing my inner work and I try to create content, that content's terrible. It's like nobody. It flops so hard. Like, but I spent so much time making it. It's like, okay, if you're disconnected from yourself or who you're trying to speak to, it's not going to come through.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like this hollow action. Anyway, I hope
I
that
love that
gives people
example.
a nudge that it's just like you have to do it. I literally couldn't show up for my business consistently if I didn't go do meditations and all
Yeah.
kinds of releasing and bringing things in. I do that on the regular. Otherwise, it'd be like, this is a lot. This is so much. Oh, I don't want to.
That's it, and that's why our and with this work, right? Our anything that we experience like that's stressful because there is stress in many things that we do, our cortisol will rise. And we have these fluctuating hormones and all of these things that are happening with this beautiful body of ours. And but this body also gives us tools to regulate, right? And that's why I firmly believe that like we have the answers. You and I, we have the privilege of creating beautiful spaces and journeys for people to go deeper with themselves, to see themselves the way God sees them. Like that's really why I do what I do.
That's
It's for
me
that.
too. That's exactly it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so you brought a gift, an inner work, a way that they can implement inner work. And it's an energy clearing meditation that you can do to reset. Doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. Tell us more about this. And I'll link it below. But if you know a way that they can find it, like how did they find you? How did they find this meditation?
So you can find this meditation with the link that Jessica will send out to you.
Absolutely.
Also, just also if this conversation resonates with you, shoot me a DM and just say, hey, like I felt very seen by this, or you're talking to me. Like I love hearing feedback like that because it just reaffirms that being in my truth is exactly what I need to be doing and speaking of, and I don't need to be like anyone else. And that's inner work for me. That is something that I had to seriously work on. People talk about identity work, like that is the core of it. Is like we're in spaces where sometimes coaches or teachers, they're instructing their own framework onto you, but I love to lead with like I am the guide and mentor, that I'm not going to push my framework onto you. It's for you to hear your own voice. That's really at the heart of it. Like I love to help people with the strategy component, but you are the strategy, baby girl. Like that's who you are.
Yeah.
Like you get to be that. So with this meditation, it is to be the CEO of your life. It's for you to clear out anything that feels heavy, anything that feels like it's from mental chatter to emotional tension to maybe even physical tension you're taking in your body. It's about a 15-minute long meditation, and I highly recommend it for whenever you just need to reset. It can be done daily, it can become a daily ritual, or it can be in those moments where you're like, I need to regulate, I need to come back to myself, I need to clear out the outside noise. How do I do this? And maybe you can't get on a call with someone, or you can't call a friend or a coach, or but you will have this as a resource. I do this practice very often. If I'm going on stage, if I have a big meeting, even if like my boyfriend pisses me off, like I will do this meditation because like I want to come back to me beyond the noise of the world. So it'll be accessible with through Jessica and also through me through Instagram, where you can reach out if it resonates.
Yes, and share your Instagram handle.
Sure. It's MBSX underscore my name, RAISAH. So MBSX underscore Raisah.
And the MBS is mind, body, soul experience is what it stands for,
Yeah.
which is so interesting because that was always the name of the inner work part of my program was, hey, go listen to your mind, body, soul sessions. Like,
That's so crazy.
no. And then I still
Oh.
talk to past clients and they're like, I still listen to my mind, body, soul. And I'm like, yes, if it's just the mind and we're disconnected, it just
And that,
blur.
you know what I love about this conversation? I feel like you have brought me back to so many things that sometimes I forget about. And I keep saying, like I said to you like earlier, and I've said to friends, it's like, oh, I'm a multidimensional woman. I'm so multidimensional. And yes, that's true. But at the same time, it's so connected because all of the things that I love to do, it's curated around the mind, the body, and the soul. It's not just mind, like it's not just neuroscience and subconscious. It's not just body being all somatic. Like I love somatic. My work has a shit ton of somatic. It's not just that. And it's not just meditation and soul. It's all of it. Because we are this being that's walking around with all of it. We have all of these components and we can't ignore one or the other. Sometimes one part needs a little bit more attention in TLC. I completely stand by that, but I think they all work with each other in this way that we should have awareness in the mind. We should have awareness in the heart and body. And we should have awareness with what our soul is feeling and what it desires and what it needs.
It's the time sometimes in business when you get so into the strategy, you can feel this like it's just this hollowness, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel dead. Wait a minute. Body, soul, we need to do something for you. We need all of it.
Yeah, come to retreat. That's what we do. It's the mind, body, and soul experience. It's an experience for that.
Yes. So thank you for bringing this conversation forward. Thank you for sharing your expertise and examples and just opening our minds up to the power within us, staying connected to us, giving us a gift on it, like a way we can implement that. Talking about retreats, heck yes. Is there any last thing you want to share with the audience?
I Yeah, two things that's on my heart. I just want to remind you to invite yourself as best as you can to get out of your own way where you need to, wherever you need to. Sometimes we think that we have to do more external things, like whatever it is that we tell ourselves we have to do. And or I do the before I could do the X thing, I need to like have this thing first, right? And sometimes you just need to be with yourself for a moment and ask yourself, what do I need? How am I holding myself back? Like that in itself is so powerful because that's at your core, like you're a light being, like your energy, your limitless possibilities, like that's you at your core. And we can be really fixated on like the next step or the big vision, and our mind can make us feel overwhelmed at times and complicate things, and that's when our body will show up in freeze or in fawn or in different survival states. And so wherever you are, if there's something that's been on your heart, just ask yourself, how am I holding myself back? Maybe it's going to the gym every day, and you keep saying, oh, I'm not a morning person, right? Something is not as simple as that, but something that that can feel so routine as that. How am I holding myself back to get the outcome that I truly desire? So just wanting to plant that seed in you that you are the CEO of your life, that you are the one who can make these executive decisions for yourself, and that God gave you the greatest gift, which is willpower. So if you feel like you're in your own way, you might be, and you're really the only one that can get you out of that. And lean on support, lean on coaches, mentors, but trust yourself to do the inner work, because coaches and all of the support can sometimes be the strategy at times, but you have to I invite you to try to open up yourself to who you're really here to be beyond maybe everything you've done so far. So that's one thing that's on my heart, to just remember that you get to be not the CEO of your business, but also your life. And the second thing is just massive gratitude to Jess for having me here and being able to share my story and connect with all of you, and just have a safe space where and an experience where I can just be. I think it's so hard to find that. And you're so genuine, Jess, and you're such an amazing person. And I'm really happy that we met in Tampa.
I know. It's so meant to be. And thank you for calling people forward. It's like the truth, the greatness within people. It's like the world can really just kind of put some mud on
Yeah.
it. It's like, that's a bunch of BS. You can do anything you want. What's the next step? How are you
Yeah.
holding yourself back? Like, you don't want to be in the same place in a year from now. Like, what can change? Like, let's
Right.
freaking go.
We're always going to have the uncontrolled, right? Like, political things, whatever, the money thing, like,
Gosh,
but
always something, literally.
right. Are we gonna let that be the narrative? And you get to take control of that story. You get to be the CEO. You get to take the step forward and just ask yourself. I would leave you this. Ask yourself, what's one thing that I can do towards this goal? What's one step I can take? Where can I lock in? Where can I lock in?
Yeah. Simplify it down and get in
Yeah,
momentum.
one way that I can lock in.
Love it. Heck yes. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Raisa, such a gift. Thank you. And have a
Thank you.
wonderful day and go get your butt moving, connecting to yourself, all of it. Mind, body, soul. All right. Love you.
Bye.